What might the future hold for the European Union, a beacon of unity and economic prosperity? Is it on the brink of unraveling? The European Union, born from the ashes of the Second World War, has always been a symbol of hope and unity, a testament to the power of cooperation. Over 70 years of its existence, it has strived to foster peace, promote economic prosperity, and uphold democratic values across the continent. However, the road has not always been smooth. It has weathered numerous challenges, financial crises, political disagreements, and even the departure of a member state. Yet it has always emerged stronger, adapting and evolving in the face of adversity. But now it appears to be at a crossroad, facing a confluence of internal and external pressures that could test its resilience like never before. The European Union faces a future fraught with uncertainty, with internal and external pressures that could lead to its potential unraveling. The European Union is no stranger to internal pressures, but the current strains are more potent than ever before. Our first pressure point is resurgent nationalism. As populist movements gain momentum across the continent, they bring with them a wave of national sovereignty sentiment that challenges the very idea of the EU. Economic anxieties and cultural concerns fuel these movements, and their rise is a clear sign of growing discontent with EU mandates. Remember the British Brexit? That's a prime example of this trend, and it's not an isolated incident. The increasing popularity of nationalist parties in countries like France, Italy, and Hungary echoes the same narrative. Next up, we have economic disparity. The Eurozone crisis of the past decade laid bare the stark economic differences between the richer nations in the north and those poorer ones in the south. This north-south divide has only deepened over time, breeding resentment and hindering efforts towards fiscal integration. Think about it. When countries like Germany and the Netherlands are compared to Greece or Spain, the economic gap is glaringly evident. This disparity fuels a sense of inequality and hampers the spirit of unity that the EU aims to foster. Lastly, let's talk about democratic backsliding. The rise of illiberal governments in some member states, coupled with declining trust in EU institutions, is eating away at the democratic foundation upon which the Union is built. We've seen this play out in places like Poland and Hungary, where democratic norms and values are being steadily eroded. This democratic erosion not only undermines the EU's core principles, but also poses a serious threat to its stability and unity. These internal strains, if left unchecked, could threaten the very fabric of the European Union. In the face of these pressures, the EU finds itself at a critical juncture. Will it rise to meet these challenges head-on, or will the tapestry of this unique supranational cooperation begin to unravel? As we delve deeper into this topic, it's crucial to remember that the future of the EU hangs in the balance. As if internal pressures were not enough, the European Union also faces a host of external challenges. Firstly, let's discuss the challenge of geopolitical realignments. The global power shift towards Asia, coupled with a potentially weakened United States, creates a complex and uncertain international environment. This shift means that the EU is no longer playing on a familiar field. Instead, it's suddenly thrust into a game where the rules are changing, and the players are evolving. This new world order could strain the unity of the EU as it struggles to respond collectively to emerging global powers, and the consequent changes in international relations. Now, let's move on to the next challenge: global crises. Climate change, pandemics, and resource scarcity are existential threats that demand coordinated global responses. These crises do not respect national boundaries, and they require a level of international cooperation that is unprecedented in human history. The EU, with its tradition of consensus and collaboration, should be well suited to lead in these areas. However, the bloc's internal divisions could hinder its effectiveness. If member states cannot agree on a common strategy, the EU's voice in global forums may be weakened, and its ability to influence the direction of global policy could be compromised. Both of these external challenges are intertwined with the EU's internal struggles. Geopolitical realignments could exacerbate economic disparities and fuel nationalist sentiments, while global crises could test the EU's commitment to shared sovereignty and democratic governance. In essence, these external challenges could act as a pressure cooker, intensifying the bloc's internal divisions and making them more difficult to manage. The EU's ability to navigate these external challenges as a united front will be crucial in determining its future. If the EU can rise to the occasion, it could reassert its relevance and leadership in the global arena. But if it stumbles, the unraveling tapestry of the European Union could start to come apart at the seams. The stakes could not be higher, and the world watches with bated breath. Should these trends continue unabated, a domino effect could unfold, leading to the potential unraveling of the European Union. Picture this: one nation, under the sway of a populist government, decides to break away from the Union. This act of defiance, this assertion of national sovereignty, might seem like a singular event, but it could be the spark that ignites a firestorm. Consider the implications. The departure of one member state from the EU is not just a subtraction, but a disruption. It shakes the very foundations of the Union, challenging the ideals of unity and shared prosperity that have held it together for so long. It plants a seed of doubt in the minds of other member states, especially those where nationalist sentiments are already gaining momentum. This departure could become a rallying cry, a beacon for other nations grappling with their own frustrations and anxieties. It could embolden nationalist movements across the continent, fueling their demands for more control, more sovereignty, more autonomy. And as these movements grow in strength and influence, the pressure on their respective governments to follow suit and exit the Union could become overwhelming. This is where the domino effect comes into play. One departure could lead to another, and then another, in a cascading series of exits. Each exit would further weaken the Union, eroding its power and influence, destabilizing its economy and fracturing its unity. The EU, once a beacon of cooperation and integration, could find itself unraveling, its threads of unity coming apart. As each domino falls, the impact would reverberate across the continent and beyond. The economic, political, and social consequences would be profound, affecting not just the departing nations, but the remaining member states and the global community as a whole. The EU's ability to respond to global crises, to speak with one voice on the world stage, to promote peace and prosperity, would be severely compromised. The departure of one or more member states could trigger a chain reaction, emboldening other nationalist movements and leading to a cascading series of exits. This is not a certainty, but a possibility, a scenario that must be acknowledged and addressed if the European Union is to navigate the uncertain waters ahead and secure its future. The disintegration of the European Union would have far-reaching consequences, both for its member states and the world at large. Imagine a domino effect that starts in Europe but reverberates around the globe. The economic fallout would be severe. We're talking about the dissolution of the single market and the Eurozone, two of the EU's most significant achievements. Businesses, no longer cushioned by the bloc's rules, would face trade barriers, making it more challenging and costly to operate across borders. The euro, once a symbol of European unity, could see its value plummet, causing economic instability not just in Europe, but in any country with strong economic ties to the bloc. Then, there's the issue of security risks. A weakened and fractured Europe could become a playground for external threats. We could see a power vacuum that might be exploited by regional and global rivals, leading to a more unstable and potentially dangerous world. Without the EU's collective defense mechanisms, member states would be left to fend for themselves, exposing them to higher security risks. But let's not forget the global repercussions. The EU isn't just a regional body. Its influence extends far beyond its borders. It's a key player in international organizations, contributing to global norms and standards. Its fall could destabilize these bodies, creating a ripple effect that could disrupt international cooperation. The EU has been at the forefront of tackling global challenges, such as climate change and pandemics. If it falls, the world could potentially lose a significant advocate for global solutions to these pressing issues. So, we're not just talking about a European crisis. The implications of a fallen EU are global. This isn't a doom and gloom scenario meant to scare you, but a potential reality if the challenges facing the EU aren't addressed and overcome. The fall of the EU would send shockwaves across the globe, potentially destabilizing other international organizations and hindering global cooperation. The future of the European Union hangs in the balance. We've delved into the internal strains, resurgent nationalism, economic disparity, and democratic backsliding. We've examined the external challenges, geopolitical realignments, and global crises. We've contemplated the unraveling, the domino effect of departures that could lead to a cascading series of exits. We've weighed the implications of a fallen EU, economic fallout, security risks, and global repercussions. The stakes are high. The potential consequences are severe. But the destiny of the EU is not written in stone. It's a tapestry of nations, woven together by shared values and collective ambitions. Yet it's fraying at the edges, threatened by a myriad of pressures. The task at hand is to mend this tapestry, to address these internal divisions and external challenges head-on. While predicting the demise of the EU is not certain, the potential consequences of its unraveling are severe. It's a unique experiment in supranational cooperation that the world cannot afford to lose.